Okay. Bats is live. Really? Did he just go live? I forgot he streams on Wednesdays.
It tastes nothing like chocolate and peanut butter. I think I don't like it. There's a non-zero chance I hate this. Yeah, I don't think I like it. Do we have a review system on here? Oh. Wait, what? We can gamba?
Okay. What do I want to work on today? What is this? Cool. Okay, what are we doing today? Probably just bug fixes, right? Okay, so in daily challenge, hide deleted users. Okay. We're going to go to the index. I go to challenge in this repeating group and hide row. Current sales challenge. No, this is challenge. I need the users who have done the challenge. User. And then min height should be 0. And then this one, min height should be 50. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say when current user when current sales challenge user card creator is empty, this element is not visible. Okay. That way, when someone does a daily challenge and they weren't logged in or anything, and then they leave and just never come back, their user will get deleted and then it'll just not show up. That way you don't have blank spaces in the usernames. Okay, fix that. Remove message icons on desktop and mobile because we don't want to deal with the messaging feature right now. Okay, so that's going to be in home, in the header. This is group messages. This is going to be invisible now. And then on mobile, mobile version 3, we are going to find messages and hide it. Okay. Group notifications, yep. Spacer, where is the messages? Did I already get rid of it? I may have already gotten rid of it on mobile. Yeah, it looks like I already got rid of it on mobile. Cool. Cool. Okay. That should be good to go. Mobile onboarding didn't hide when I logged in. Okay. Actually, while I'm thinking of it, I almost forgot. Is there a way to give someone a 1 or 2 year subscription for Tsumego Dragon? Ooh, that's a good idea. No. Unfortunately not. Otherwise, that sounds like a good idea, but that would require instead of checking for if the user is subscribed, it would check for a premium role and a premium expiration date, and then you could when you gift the user, it charges you a one-time fee, and you select the user from a drop-down, and then it would give that user a premium role and the premium expiration date. Question is, do I have a check for the premium role everywhere? Everywhere that there's premium needs to have that premium check, so that way they get the premium features. I don't know. Let's add that to the to-do list. I don't know when I'll get to it, but let's add that. Add a way to gift a TD subscription. That's a good idea. I like it. I will add that to my to-do list. That's going to be involved, though, so we're going to move that up a bit, though. You know, that's going to be more involved. Yeah, good idea. Mobile onboarding didn't hide when I logged in. Okay. So, when a user logs in, it should hide the onboarding. Oh, look at all these uncategorized workflows. Okay. Do I have a sign-in folder? Landing and sign up. Okay. Button back is clicked. Button sign in is clicked. Button sign up is clicked. Guest is clicked. Sign up is clicked. I need do when condition is true. There's going to be the reusable element. What's it called? Pop-up sign up login. Pop-up sign up login. And we're going to do close event. So when it closes, we are going to set the state of the pop-up. The close event is going to be no because we've caught it now, so we need to reset it. Then we are going to hide an element. And this is going to be the onboarding. View onboarding. And then we're going to navigate to on mobile 3, and we're going to send the parameters view equals home. And the question is it V or is it view? V. It is V. Home's display. Okay, I'll do that. go to view or V home display. Okay. Let's test it. New private window. Let's make it mobile. Go to Tsumego Dragon version test. Okay, and then we're going to skip. I'm going to sign in. Okay. Then we're going to log in. That didn't work. That did not work. Did not work. Go to the pop-up. Sign up, log in. Log in, log the user in, show up text. Current user is logged out. Terminate this workflow. Current user is logged out. Pop-up, hide the pop-up. Set the state of close event to yes. Okay, so it definitely set it to yes when you logged in. Oh, there's two login flows. Oh, probably one for when the user's logged out, one for the user's logged in. Oh yeah, this one's sign the user up, make changes to user, schedule the API workflows to get the essential data, create new notification, display data and pop-up, hide pop-up, animate pop-up, create referral, create notification. Set the states to yes. Okay, so definitely sets the state to yes. That's good. Now in the thing, so maybe in the home section, there's a different onboarding. I think I have two onboardings in this, which is a mistake. View home. View onboarding. Find that. This looks like the view. Rules. Step 3. When step 3 button is clicked, where do you go? Create new user rank, make changes to user, make changes to user, make changes to user, make changes to user, make changes to user. Animate view onboarding, animate view login sign up, hide group step 3, show group step 1. Okay, what happens when my skip is clicked? It looks like there's 3 skips. That just is not good. This page really sucks. Animate view onboarding, transition no bounce down, animate view landing sign up, transition no bounce up. And why the heck? And do all of them do that? Oh my gosh, they all are doing the exact same thing. Skip, skip. I have 3 buttons doing the exact same thing. Oh my gosh, embarrassing. Okay. Okay. So why the heck are these not hiding? This is hello, let's get started improving your Go game. That looks different than this. Is this a different onboarding? Why do I have 2 onboardings? Why am I so bad at coding? Where is it? Where on earth? Here it is. It's not called onboarding. View landing sign up. Okay, so we need to hide that. So in our close event, so landing and sign up, close event, do every time. I don't know if there's a second time that it'll happen, but let's do every time. Copy, paste. We're gonna hide the onboarding, and then we're gonna hide the view landing sign up. Okay. So we're gonna close this and do it again. Make it mobile. Mega Dragon Burger test. I'm gonna skip this. Sign in. Sign in. Yep. Log in. Booyah! Bug fixed. I haven't tested the new user experience on mobile in a bit. I should probably go through that at some point again, just to make sure nothing broke. I don't need. I'm not going to do that right this second though. Hide custom challenges you cannot accept. Okay. In the play online page. In our challenges. Make this a little bit wider. Apparently. What the heck? Why is there a gap over here? Why is there a gap? What the heck is happening? Don't know why 80 pixels made such a difference, but it did. Oh, it barely fits. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Not this current bug. That's a later bug. Content, middle, live games, challenges, Group cell challenge. So I need to get the condition. Group accept isn't clickable. Group accept isn't clickable. Looks like that. Ah. So we're going to get the whole cell. And we're going to say when group accept isn't clickable, because we can't accept it for whatever reason, we already have the check for that, this element is not going to be visible. Group accept isn't clickable, then the entire element is not going to be visible. And that should fix that bug. Look at that, 4 bugs in like 30 minutes. Look at us go. Four bugs in 30 minutes. Smooth sailing, smooth sailing. Hello, cat. Wow, look at that. Oh, I guess that was just loading. Never mind. I was going to say, like, there's Dawn in every single one of them. Usually not. 82 players in challenges right now? Woo, it's popping. Lots of people playing Go right now. Live games is not at 200, though. I would have expected live games to be higher than normal. Seems like normal. 140 to 160 seem normal. But since the player challenges are so much higher than normal, I would expect the live games to be much higher. Huh. Users online past 4,000. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, we gotta get this live games number up, though. Not enough people are actually playing Go. Awesome, thank you for the sub. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if you have any issues, any feature requests like that. I can add it to the Trello board and whatnot. But yeah, working hard on it every day. Just only gonna improve from here. Yeah, and I definitely, like, one of my most important flows on Tsumego Dragon is to make the new user experience, like beginners, as smooth as possible. So let me know if any of that is difficult or confusing, because it is very important to me that new players have a smooth, easy to understand experience for getting into Go and learning strategy, like with the puzzles and stuff, playing games now, making sure you can get into a game quickly and get an account quickly. All of that is super important to me for new users. So let me know if there's any issues or any struggles, any confusing parts, because it's definitely important for me to get that flow down as good as I can. Okay, reduce lag, load lag on game page. That's going to be involved. It's definitely important because the game page takes way too long to load right now. But I'm very scared I'm going to break it while I'm touching it. Look into your responses when you lose connection to OGS. That one's going to be important for like cell phones. When you're playing Go in the car and you're traveling, I need to make sure that when you lose service for a second, it can reconnect. The issue with this one is it's going to be really hard to debug and test because I'm constantly connected to the internet, right? At home when I'm debugging. So it's really hard to test. Player challenges count text on Play Online. Take a good bit to load. That is this text right here. Do I want to look into that first? Player challenges. Find and replace OGS connections auto match, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think the reason it takes so long to load is because it loads the initial games and then it only shows after it loads one more. So notice how it's already loaded and it's got the games, and then when another one gets created, then it'll show up. Hey, look, a Dom player's playing 19 by 19. Look at that, look at that. Is it bats? What are the odds it's bats?
Gonna total.
It's not.
I'm gonna total go for style.
Oh, hey,
points.
PW is
I'm
getting a
gonna draw
review.
down on it.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
Maximum style points. No, he's a 3Q. I'm sorry. Don't try to style points.
Yeah. Fun. Okay, so in this one, I need to get the challenges showing sooner. Let's go to our connection. HTML connection. We're going to go to automatch, our automatch script. What do you want, cat? Why are you meowing all over the place? So automatch add. Here's the issue. Automatch list loaded doesn't get called until at least one game is removed. The reason for that is because on page load, it loads like 60 to 80 games in a row. Everyone that's in the auto match gets loaded immediately, which is good for matchmaking. Not so good when I need to send data to Bubble, because Bubble cannot handle that. Bubble can only handle like 3 calls a second, or 3 of the same calls a second. And this has like 80 calls in a second. So I need to figure out when this finishes. I don't know how to tell that because I don't know how many there are in the first place. So up here, this is where we get all of the auto matches, all the people in the auto matches. And then where are we calling the map? Because we only call the map after it. So where are we calling the map? How does the map get loaded? Map. Map. Where's my map? Okay. Automatch offers. So if player ID is not equal to data.player.id, check for time settings, automatch offers set. Okay, so that's where it sets it. So this is sorting the automatch offers when I grab them. Where am I console logging it though? Wait, I just learned this trick. I can click on this right here and it'll show me. Okay. Automatch list loaded. Okay, it's in the automatch list loaded. That's when it shows it. What that means, it's already sent data to Bubble. I don't think I can load this faster. Like, I legit think that, like, I can't load this any faster without breaking it. Yeah, there's no way for me to load this faster, I don't think. Because the auto match list loaded does not get set until I've removed at least one. At least one person's gotten in a game. Is that the inspector that does that? Debugger? Oh, debugger. Neat. How does map get called 4 times before the first remove challenge? Or remove... Oh, I'm not console logging. That's remove challenge, not remove auto match. That makes sense. I don't think I can load this any faster. Get the active games. This gets the auto matches. I don't think I can load this faster. I don't think there's a way to do it. Not that I can think of. I could lie. I could have it when it's connected, set it to 80 or 60. And then after, I could actually set a true number. So I could set a fake number at first and then let the true number load in a second later. Should I lie? Should I lie? Is lying bad? Automatch offers. Where is... Let's see, automatch count. Automatch count. Copy. Where does automatch count get set? Automatch count only gets set on automatch remove. Automatch count equals automatch list dot length. Automatch list loaded. Let me put that up above this actually. No, I want to put it right here. This is fine. So if it's loaded, then like freaking set it when it goes up, right? Don't only set it when it goes down. Now I'm going to put a fake variable. I'm going to make it start at 60. I'm going to lie. And then I'm going to put let auto match count first call equal false. And then in the auto match data, if not auto whatever, I'll get that in a second, call it. Oh, no, that'll set it to 1. That'll set it to 1. This has to go first if I want to set it to 60, because that'll set it to 1 on the first game. So I need to call it first, lie to the player, and say it's 60, and then once you're loaded, give the actual number. So we're gonna lie about this. Okay, so first call is false, and then we're going to set it equals true. Hello, Offscreen. Welcome. Now that should give us a fake number until it's loaded. $60, yep, and then true number. True number. Why are you not true numbering? 84, there it goes. Yeah, you see how long that took? Yeah, that took freaking forever. That's why we have to put a fake number. Sometimes you have to lie to the user and say there is more than 0 people looking for a game. Okay, I'm gonna call that fixed. I'm gonna call that fixed. Player challenge count doesn't lag anymore because we have a fake number now. Okay, what else do we want to work on today? So these two are going to be important but involved. So look into responses when you lose connection to OGS. Why not just a question mark? Because anything that makes the user think their page is lagging is bad. You can't create a 19 by 19 game. On this? On Play Online? Yeah, anything that makes the user think the page is lagging is bad. So there's a lot of visual things that you can do to still get the same result, but make the user think the page is faster than it is. And that's kind of one of the tricks, I guess. For example, on Instagram, this may or may not be true, but the way I copied it was when the page is loaded, check if you've liked a post. Okay, cool. Glad nothing's broken. When the page is loaded, check if you liked a post, right? And you have a heart and it's gray or pink. And then it'll fetch the database and say if it's gray or pink. Now, if you click the heart, it'll send a database call saying, I've clicked it, so make it the opposite of what it is. So what you do is you say, hey, database, I have liked this post, or I dislike this post, and if that's true, it'll like it. And if it's not true, it'll dislike it. Okay, it's an opposite game, right? True or false, opposite game. But because you're sending the call to the database has to update and then send the call back. So if you click the heart, it'll take like a fraction of a second lag before it changes to pink. But what you can do instead is have a local state variable, which doesn't interact with the database at all. When the database loads, it sets that local state. And then when you click it, the state flips immediately and then sends the call to the database to update. So visually, when you click the heart, it'll immediately turn pink, but then it sends the call to the database that you've liked it. So that way, that fraction of a second lag is not visually present. That's one of the computer science things they have to do in design, is you have to do stuff like that to make it seem like nothing is lagging. And I'm not the greatest at it, I'm not gonna lie. But that's why I think it's important to have a number versus a question mark, because I don't want it to appear like you're waiting to see if people are challenging or not, right? That way it'll appear, because usually there's at least 60 people, so it's not completely incorrect. Because in the last day or two, there's been at least 60 people. So it will look like there's a number, and then it'll actually update. And visually, hopefully that'll reduce the likelihood of this looking like lag. But speaking of lag, reduce load lag on game page. This is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. So, on the game page, we're going to have to figure out how to do some stuff simultaneously. So let's figure out what loads first. So we're going to play a bot. So that way we can resign. Let's see what loads first. Okay, I've got the player's information and I'm still loading, which means I have loaded the player's information, but I don't have the board state yet. So I can probably improve this by half a second. Okay, let's look into it. What is setting the username? Group games, OGS get game information. So group game, game. Group data, group game. When page is loaded entirely is yes. Get the game information. I don't think I need to wait. So let's get that immediately. Let's see how fast the players load now. There. You see how fast that was? Now see how long it's taken to load? Yeah, I think we can improve this quite a bit. Okay, so this is waiting on something. Set Goban state. Move number, page is loaded. Set state of the Tsumego board is game yes. That should be pretty quick as well. OGS game connection. Game connections connected is yes. And get game information ID is not empty. So this fires once you're connected to OGS. And then this is where we hide the shape, the Goban shield, which is the red box that prevents you from playing. So all of this has to happen within like half a second or less. Okay, so let's figure out how long it takes to get connected first. So set basic clock information. Audio. It's time control, player black, player white ID. Okay, I'm gonna make this easy. I'm gonna do an alert. And then we're gonna do date.now. We're gonna see how fast that pops up. Players. Wow, that took a long time. Okay, so that means this is not firing fast enough. So let's go into the OGS connection, game connection script. So we have to speed this up much, much faster. So in the connection, we're going to join the WebSocket. WebSocket on open, set interval net ping, bubble FN ping, on message event. Parse data on message, JSON, here it is, one, whatever. We're gonna do an alert connected to OGS. We're gonna see when we get this alert. Wow, that takes so long. Why does that take so long to connect to OGS? I'm waiting to render this frame. Okay, hold on. This element is visible on page load. This element is visible on page load. So this loads on page load. Load OGS is probably being called later. So let's do alert page load. Page load. That's how fast it needs to connect. Now, why are we waiting to load OGS? Connect to OGS. Where is my page loaded? Do I not have a page loaded on this one? Here it is. When the API calls user JWT is not empty, run JavaScript, load OGS, and then set users me. So group config API call user JWT is not empty. Group config is not set by default. So where do I set group config? Do once floppy reader key one value is not empty. Display data group me. Display data group config. And this should take the access key. Let's see how long this takes to run. Run JavaScript. We're gonna alert. We got the access key. We got the access key. All right. Connected to OGS. We need to get rid of that gap. Okay, so this let's do console.log we got the access key, and then we're going to do $ parentheses. We're going to do date dot now, and we're going to log date dot now when we get the key instead of having a pop up. We're not going to persist the log. Sorry, I got to refresh again. Unexpected expression, blah, blah, blah. Page is loaded at 1.59 seconds. So 1.5 seconds, page is loaded. Not ideal. Did I mess this up? JavaScript date dot now. How do I mess this up? Come on. It logs the current time in milliseconds to the moment the line runs, but it didn't. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. We got the access key. Okay, it did run. I don't know where that is. This bug in custom HTML, and I don't know where it is. You won your first game. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hello, Jesserac. How are you doing? Like your first game today or your first game ever? Or your first game on Tsumego Dragon? Okay. So we get the access key, and then we get the user's config. First game on Tsumego Dragon. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Hopefully nothing broke. Hopefully it went well. Hopefully it didn't lag too much. Awesome. Glad it's going well. Okay, so we need to say once we get the config, we're calling load OGS. But before that, I'm going to console.log. We got the config. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but I think it's totally worth it. And I'm very excited to watch people use it and get people using it. I am watching the analytics on Google, see how many people access the page. So I'm very excited to see it go up. We got the config date dot now. Okay, let's see how fast this loads. Let's get rid of the request. We got the access key. Position practice. That's if you want to practice an opening against a bot. It'll set if you click on one of the go positions, it'll set the starting moves to be that exact position. And then set it to be either white or black stern. I think it's just always black stern. I'm not sure. But you click on that, it'll set that position, and then you'll play the AI that you select with that given position so you can practice an opening. And then the Phoenix is Catago 9 Don or whatever. Okay, so page is loaded after 3.27 seconds. That's a long time. Creating Gobon. I guess I have the timestamps right here, right? This is minutes, seconds, milliseconds? Or is this hour? This is hour, so this is 2:03 at 55.9 seconds. Okay, so this is pages loaded at 52 seconds. We get the access key at 53 seconds, and we get the config at 55 seconds. How can we reduce that? That's 2 seconds from getting the access key to getting the config and logging in. Do we need the config to log in? So load OGS, users JWT, OGS connection, ask ChatGPT. Soon. We'll get there soon. Okay, so local JWT. Do I even use this variable? I got new player ID. So this is setting the player ID, which is us. Local JWT. Set player ID in script. Okay, so local JWT's WebSocket. I subscribe to the WebSocket, subscribe to messages, on open, connected to OGS. We're going to console log this. Connected to OGS. And then we're going to do $date.now. So I don't use the JWT. So why do I need it? I don't know why I need it. Aha! Message callback, WebSocket send, authenticate JWT. If not connected, connected to OGS. So this subscribes to the message callbacks, connected to OGS. And then this sends the user's JWT to authenticate the WebSocket, I guess. So I do use it. My message callback. So this calls once I've gotten the bots for the first time, which lets me know that OGS is giving me data, which means I'm connected to OGS. So I'm going to refresh and then see what the time difference is. Page is loaded less than a second. Beautiful. We get the access key 2 seconds after the page is loaded. So I think we can improve that. Well, actually, I don't know if we can improve getting the access key faster than that because we're reading local storage. I don't think that there's a way to load that faster. But we got the config a second later. Then once we get the config, connection script subscribe to messages happens literally like the same millisecond. Where's my connected to OGS? That's weird. It's my connected to OGS. Console log connected to OGS. Where's it at? Where is it at? Where did it go? Where did it go? Console log connected to OGS. It's just not here. Display position, clear Gobon, removing hints, and set player color all happens at 37, 770, 771, 772. So yeah, all happens within getting the config within milliseconds. You get the config and then all of that happens within milliseconds. Okay. This didn't get called. What the heck? What the heck? If not connected, log that we got connected. I'm going to refresh. Hold on. We got the access key, got the config, and everything loads. Connected to OGS. There it is, connected to OGS. Okay. Okay, oh, it's the alert. The alert's stopping it from running. Hold on, workflow. Connect OGS, da 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 da, floppy reader, I think. Da 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 da. That's config. Console log, we got the config. Floppy reader, console log, we got the access key, display data. Connection event. Connect to OGS. Set challenge every time, blah, 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 blah. Must be on the game page then. Game OGS, where are you giving me the alert? There it is. OGS game connections connected as yes. So we're going to do console.log. I've got the game information. Date.now. And that should fix that. Instead of an alert, we're going to log it. Got the access key, got the config, and then connected OGS. What the fudge? Why am I still getting that pop-up? Subscribe to game. Set time controls. Set basic clock information. Console log. Page is loaded. Set the state. Where am I calling alert? Console log. Display data. Console log. Set time control. Where is the alert? Why am I alerting? What have I done? There it is. Connected OGS. Let's do console.log. And this is going to be connected to the WebSocket. Connected to the WebSocket. Date.now. Save. Now let's see what the difference is. Okay, page is loaded in less than a second. We got the access key. Okay, so page is loaded at 56 seconds. Within half a second, we got the access key. But it took us another second to get the config. Once we got the config, everything gets run very quickly. But it took us another second to connect to the WebSocket and then run connected to OGS. Display position happened at 14:16:01. And then okay, so the big thing that's slowing us down is the config. So I am going to move this stuff to a new function. Function config is loaded. Move it there. Okay. Now I need these parameters. Config is loaded. And then we're going to do WebSocket on open event, blah, 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 on message event, blah, blah, blah. Alert connection lost. We'll deal with that later. Console.log connected to the WebSocket. So we need to deal with on message. No, right here. If not connected, authenticate the user. Well, we don't have the JWT yet. What if I move this into this? Config is loaded. And then load OGS happens immediately. Okay, config is loaded. Workflow, config, run JavaScript. Instead of load OGS, we're going to config is loaded. Refresh. Okay. So the page was loaded at 52. We got the access key at 53. We connected to the WebSocket at 53. Connected to OGS at 53. Awesome. So we're connected immediately after getting the access key, within milliseconds. But it took 2 seconds from there to get the daggum config. After we get this, we run the JavaScript, we got the access key, we display data in me, and then we display group config, API provider, get config with the key one value. Technically, this should be copy, paste for consistency should be the access key. What? OGS me access token. Okay, never mind. I can't do that. Undo, 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 undo. I don't know what I did, but I didn't do it. So this should run immediately. Why does it take 2 seconds to get the config? We get the access key. We do the API call. Is there no way to speed this up? Because we get the config at 55. We get the game information at 56. Setting game position at 57. I would like to speed that up. And then at 20 minutes, 57 seconds. At 57, it looks like we're good to play. Which is 5 seconds after the page loads. And the page loaded at 1.43 seconds. So you're talking 6 to 7 seconds before you can play a move. So we get the access key within 700 milliseconds. I don't think I can speed that up. OGS connections, custom challenge status is okay. Run JavaScript, custom challenge created, no. Every time OGS game connection is not empty, subscribe to the game. OGS game connection accepted challenge, that's not it. Connect to OGS is triggered. Store keys, that's not it. What causes the floppy reader to get the information? Let's see if there's something that we're waiting on before we get the information. Okay, how do I search this crap? Search by action type. Floppy, retrieve all keys floppy reader. Only search current page, search. Login information initialized. Retrieve all keys. I don't think it's waiting on anything. Once it's initialized, it retrieves them. Login information. Floppy reader is a streamlined version of the floppy element that reads key value pairs from local storage, session storage, or index database, and publishes them to outputs immediately. It also has actions for reading, storing, and removing keys. Automatically retrieve keys when updated in another window. Specify the name of each key you want floppy reader to retrieve. Each instance of floppy reader can read up to 6 scalar and 6 list type keys. We can detect when local storage has been updated in another window. The default setting is yes, making floppy storage reader automatically retrieve any of the keys it is reading if they are changed in another window, keeping the stored values in sync. That's important. Um, login information is initialized. I believe that fires as soon as the page is loaded, right? Floppy reader initialized. That's floppy drive. Bubble IO. Login for local source, sort of. When floppy or floppy reader is initialized, you set the repeating group source to be whatever list represents your output. Okay. Found this plugin reason it seemed like it could be good for my case. I'm building an app, blah, blah, blah. We have a layout, blah, blah, blah. I'm unable to use lists. Bubble removes duplicates from the list. Floppy to the rescue. Yep. It would be a lot easier to have an array with objects, data I'm retrieving, blah, 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 blah. My floppy instance is a type value student that looks like the object above, but when I need to click on the button add colleague, blah, 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 blah. Bubble does not support arbitrary JavaScript objects. Bubble API, there's no facility for creating a thing, destroying a thing, or modifying value, blah, blah, blah. API response, blah, 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 blah. Floppy RAM list is a bubble list. Okay, I'm not talking about list. As with all bubble lists, floppy RAM, I want to know what initialize stands for, or when initialize is called. Initialize. You try to hit list shifter with actions before it is initialized. So don't fire actions at list shifter on an event like page is loaded. You fire them when list shifter initialized or updated. One, two, three, four. That's all that it finds. So there's no way to do it faster. Floppy reader initialized. Okay, they have various actions, blah, blah, blah. Never fire these actions on page loaded, only fire them after floppy has reached its initialized state. The most basic is set floppy RAM scalar or set floppy RAM list, and pop values into them using this action. Those values can be accessed at the RAM scalar or RAM list outputs. There's a bunch of other actions that apply to RAM list, blah, 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 blah. So there's nothing to do to speed up retrieving the keys after page is loaded. So page is loaded. We got the access key. Is gonna take about a second no matter what, huh? That really sucks. What about the config? Can we speed up the config? Config. We can't really get the config until we have the key, right? So floppy reader key1 value is not empty. Display data and config. Buddy, it's a while before she gets home, so you're gonna have to just deal. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. And then group config. Config is loaded. Group me is me. Group me. Oh, there's so many things firing. How do I do this? So I've connected to OGS faster. I've connected to OGS like within milliseconds of getting the access key. Now, subscribing happens 3 seconds after connecting to OGS. Can we speed that up? Load OGS, subscribe to messages, unsubscribe, on message, blah, 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 message callback, connected to OGS. When we get the bots, we connect to OGS. Notification event, blah, 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 blah. Game message. Bubble data, data string, type equals move, type equals clock, latency, game data, finished, disconnect, remove stones accepted, phase, clock Fisher, resume game from pause, post OGS move, pass turn OGS, resign OGS, play OGS move simple, subscribe to game right here, game ID. So subscribe to game gets called when. I'm trying to reduce the page load time because it's taking me too long to load stuff. So I'm trying to make stuff fire simultaneously instead of waiting on conditions. So I'm trying to figure out what is relying on what and seeing if I can unlink it so that way it can fire simultaneously to speed up the stuff. Because right now it takes several seconds, like 7 seconds for the time that the page, for loading the page and then letting you play a stone. 10 megabits of JavaScript? Where do you see that? Is that the run.js? Anything that happens before page is loaded is gonna top 3 or 4 files together. Yes. Yeah. That is from mistakes I made in Bubble. It's loading, I think, every single image, dragon image, that exists, which is hundreds, on page load, because I made a mistake and made them option sets instead of data sets. And option sets are loaded every page load to be fast. Option sets in Bubble are loaded on page load because it expects option sets to be necessary and available instantly on page load. So it'll load all of your option sets, no matter what they are, immediately on page load. So that way they'll be ready for you to access doing whatever you want. Instead of what I should have done is saved it as data, so it only retrieves the images when I ask for them, which would be after page is loaded. So that is sort of my fault, because I didn't know that it did that until like a year after I did it. So that's why page is loaded after 1.43 seconds takes so long. But from this, from 1.43 seconds, we are at 52, and we don't get to play a move until 57 seconds. So that's like 5 or 6 seconds until we can play a move after the page is loaded. And that's what I'm trying to tackle, is that 5 seconds. So 1 second, or approximately 1 second, is lost to get the access key from local storage. And I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Once I have the access key, I connect to OGS almost immediately. Place achievement.wave with an MP3 or OGG. Is the .wave file like really big compared to MP3? Because I could do that. Like, it's not hard. Huh. Compared to 1/10? Wow. Okay. I think we'll work up to that. Right now, let's get the stuff running simultaneously, and then we can go into somewhere, one of these, to see how heavy something is. Yeah, let's go into the network and see how heavy stuff is, and see if we can fix that. Let's make these hook up simultaneously first. So we get connected to OGS, and it takes 2 seconds to get the config, and I don't know why. What was I doing? Oh yeah, subscribing happens a second after the config. Dynamic might be a bubble thing. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is going to be workflows. We get the information from the game. Nope, that's not it. That's disabled. Get information from the game. Yeah, that's all bubble. I believe dynamic. It's either, I think it's dynamic that loads all of my images. Yeah, that's because I made too many option sets instead of data sets. I check Stripe's subscription status all the time. For better or for worse. That way I can get updated when someone, like, payments get declined or something. Maybe that's not good either, but okay. Game information ID is not empty. Set state, create game, set go on state, move number empty. So where do I subscribe to the game? Yeah, I know. But I'm like 100 feet deep in like bubble dirt. So honestly, it's not just bubble, it's the mistakes of using bubble incorrectly over the last 2 years while learning stuff new. Because if I redid this on bubble, with the knowledge I have now, I could probably make it twice as fast, just because of mistakes that I've learned from. That's probably a lot of it. But yeah, Bubble is definitely slower than like let me do this. Let me do this. I'll show you how fast it is on an empty project. Where's a empty project? Empty project. Let's do OGS Companion. That was a test project that I made. And then go to the web app. And then we're going to preview it. And we're going to get rid of the debug. And inspect. I'll let you inspect it, actually. You can tell me how expensive this is. Because this has none of the mistakes that I've made in the past. Maybe the images are really heavy. Maybe I could have lowered the image size, but that's about it. So this should be super, super cheap. Yeah, page is loaded after 0.243 seconds. But that's the comparison, basically. The bubble editor is definitely slow, too. Okay, where am I subscribing to the game? Set basic clock. Subscribe to the game. OGS game connections connected is yes, and OGS game information ID is not empty. I don't need to wait for OGS game. So let's cut that. Page is loaded. I need to know exactly when general do when condition is true just once. This is going to be connection. When OGS connections connected, then we're going to subscribe to the game. And we're going to get it from the URL. The start page of Tsumego Dragon or of the OGS test site? OGS Companion. Yeah, Tsumego Dragon's really laggy. Okay, so we're gonna get the number from the URL. And this is going to be, I believe, game ID. Game underscore ID. Game underscore ID. If we type text, and we're gonna convert it to number. Let's actually see if I can get it as a number. If you go to your profile on OGS, click on your profile, your ID is in the URL at the end. Right here, so it's /player/your ID. That's your OGS ID. Yeah, I didn't learn how to catch something until I was a year and a half in. So you got to realize I had to teach myself JavaScript from scratch. Yeah. So there's a lot that I got to do to improve previous mistakes. Because I had to learn all of this from scratch. And definitely made mistakes. Connect OGS. Okay, where's subscribe to game? Okay. Subscribing to game is at 53. We connected to OGS at 49. Why did it take 4 seconds to subscribe? This is seconds, right? Once OGS Games connection A is connected, subscribe to game. No, simply because we already have thousands, and honestly, we have plenty of puzzles. Like, I have a folder of 300,000 puzzles. The issue is the puzzles need to be sorted. And if someone creates more puzzles, that's going to create more puzzles that need to be categorized, sorted, and checked, and branches checked for wrong answers. So because I'm so strict with the sorting, I don't allow custom Tsumego. Though I could like upload it manually. Like if someone gave me a Tsumego, I could upload it if I thought it was good enough. But there's no way for users to do that because that would just cause more work for the Tsumego editors that already have thousands of Tsumego to go through and sort. So unfortunately, it's trying to keep up the quality of Tsumego because some people could submit some really stupid Tsumego that they think is good. Not you, like I'm saying, like in general, you don't know who's going to submit what. And then all of those would have to get approved and everything else. And I just don't have the staff to deal with that. Because right now I got volunteers, and I don't even know if those volunteers are doing anything about sorting. Like, we still have like another 1,000 puzzles to get through, and then I have to sort even. I can upload like 500 to 1,000 more to get sorted. Keep them local to the user. Are you talking about saving some Tsumegos on the site to a set, like building your own collection of puzzles, or are you talking about creating your own puzzle on SGF from scratch? Because you can save to sets, you can create your own collections of puzzles. Like you can go through the puzzles and like literally make a set and then save puzzles to that set to do later, and then drill yourself on your set. Yeah, you can make your own collection. That exists. So go to, let's see, tsumegodragon.com. What you're going to do is you're going to go to puzzles, sets. This is where you have sets, right? So you see I have a lot of sets, but I'm using my sets in the campaign. Now, when you're going through puzzles, you can go through custom or wherever. Let's say I want to make a set of capture puzzles. What I can do is I load the puzzle set, and then I can bookmark. I bookmark, and then I can create a set, or I can add it to the set. On Android, it's not possible. Hold, please. Can't do it on mobile. On mobile, home, study. Holy crap, did I not add it on mobile? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't have it on mobile. Holy crap. No. I'm checking. And it's not there. You can bookmark it. Like down here, I don't know if you can see. Down here, there's the bookmark icon. You can bookmark puzzles. You just can't load them because I don't have a sets page. Why? Why don't I have a sets page on mobile? You can literally make a set and bookmark puzzles, but you can't load it. Oh my gosh. Let's add that to the Trello board. That'll be something to fix soon. I'm glad you let me know. No one else lets me know these things. On mobile, add a link to the sets page. I can't believe that's not on here. Wow, how did I forget that? How in the world did I forget that? All right, it's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list. I'm sorry, I didn't know I didn't do that. The feature exists though. It definitely exists. I just didn't put a button for it. Oh man. I'm glad you let me know though, but yeah, I'll get that added. I will get that added like soon. It is on my Trello board now. It'll get added. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know that didn't exist. Holy crap. Okay, so when we're connected, we're subscribing to game. Let's see how long this takes. Console.log connected and actually I need to do it. Get this connected, subscribing to game, date.now. Okay. And then let's go to the OGS game connection. Because I have a theory that maybe it takes too long to tell Bubble to grab something from the URL, and I might just grab it from in JavaScript. So we're going to do JavaScript connection, JavaScript connection event, set states connected. Is JavaScript and Bubble's value is a yes, no. Let's go to my games connection script. Connected to the WebSocket, date now. And then when I get the bots, I'm connected to OGS. Where is that at? Active bots, connected to OGS, Bubble FN connected. Okay, let's look at that. Okay, connected to the WebSocket at 55. connected to OGS at 55, basically 10 milliseconds, it looks like. And then connected and subscribing to game happened 3 seconds later. That's terrible. Okay. So I'm going to do this in JavaScript then. So in game OGS, I'm going to rename this. OGS connection connected. OGS game connections connected event. Run JavaScript. Takes way too damn long. I'm going to delete that. Now in the game OGS. No, not in the game OGS. In the game connection. We're going to get the data from the URL in JavaScript. So we are going to, when we get the bots, we're connected to OGS. We're going to subscribe to the game. And we're going to get the game underscore ID from URL. Okay. It's URL ID. How do I get a parameter from the URL with an ID game underscore ID in JavaScript? Parameters, game ID, copy. Okay. Okay, game ID from URL. So we get the parameters from the URL window.location.search, and then we're going to get the game ID and subscribe to the game. See how long that takes. They just loaded 1.6 seconds. Okay. Okay, connected to OGS, 38, connected and subscribing to game, 38, subscribing. Look at all that within like the same millisecond. Why is it so difficult to find your eggs? So you mean going to profile? Profile. Edit. I forgot where they are. Crap, I forgot where they are. Oh my gosh. Where are they? Edit right here. Aha, there they are. On phone. Let's see. Market. Yep. More. Yep. Home. Home. Edit. Oh, do you mean like, so on your home screen, if you click the edit button and it goes to your dragons, that's what part of that, what part of that is difficult that you don't like? Because technically it's one click away, right? And then you just scroll down to your egg? Or do you think the egg should be immediate after you bought it? So you're saying not really intuitive. You know, you have a point. Because when you click buy, it just puts a check mark. So the good news is, for you, is I have to redo this whole shop. Right? The entire shop has to be redone. Because in Europe, they passed laws that the loot chest or loot boxes are now illegal for mobile apps. So I have to get rid of the chest, which means I have to go in and figure out how I want to unlock eggs and unlock skins and stuff. So I have to completely redo it. Yeah. So the entire shop, the weekly sets will be fine. The weekly sets are going to stay the same, but the way you unlock eggs and skins are going to change. I don't know how yet. But when that happens, I will try to make it more user-friendly. I don't know. I think people just don't like loot boxes in the first place, so I think it's just going to be worth my time to get rid of treasure chest completely. I think it's just going to be worth it to do it, like, even perception-wise. I think it's going to be worth it. So that is on my to-do list, to redo the shop, and I'll try to make it more user-friendly. And I guess you're right that I do need, like, this pop-up looks fine, but maybe I need another button that makes it more obvious. So for example, maybe in market, I have a button at the top that says your dragons or something. Maybe at the top of market. And then when you click that, it opens that same pop-up. So yeah. I like that. That is a good idea. Definitely a good idea. Yeah, I'll add that as well. Make it easier to find your dragons / eggs on desktop and mobile. Yeah, that's one of the leading features of the app. It should be very easy to get to. I agree. Definitely feels important. Okay. Now we're connected to OGS. We got the config a second later. The config needs the access key. There's no like speeding that up. But at least all the connection is happening simultaneously to us waiting on the config. But the config takes 2 seconds to get to us. Why is that? I wonder. How do I do an API call in JavaScript? Fetch. I need the water. Let's copy this and add it down here. This is going to be git config a API. And then we need the access key from local storage. How do I get my access token from local storage? Load.js. Because I think if I do this in JavaScript, it'll just be faster. That is my theory. Okay, so we have the access token, access token, access token. And it is called the access token, right? Yeah, access token. Yeah, the JavaScript to bubble, I think, is taking too long. Git config API call, authorization bearer, da 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 da. So let's call this right after load.js. And we're going to do local get access token. And then we're going to console log the data. So console.log. We got the local access token data. I'm not going to post the access token actually because I don't want to show my access token. No, we got the local config. Let's not show the config just in case. Okay, local get access token, get the local config. Let's see how long this takes. And before I move on, I need to see what the config takes. Copy the URL. It doesn't look like it takes anything. And that's not right. Git config. Okay, it takes the authorization. Okay. Move this back over here. And then go to the connected script because I forgot to put the API call. The API call is going to be this. Save. Refresh. Let's see if it's got a bug. Okay. So we got the config before we even connected to OGS. Oh my gosh. Which is like almost 2 seconds in front of bubble. Technical debt, yeah. So once we have the config and we're connected, okay, hold on, there's a problem here. Because I need to be connected and then get the config. So, because I need to call subscribe to game once I get the config. So we're going to load OGS, and then when we're connected to OGS, we're going to immediately get the config. I would like to get it at the same time, though. The problem is, I don't want this to load out of order. Because once we're connected to OGS, connected and subscribing to game. Wait, what do I use the JWT for again? I forgot what I used the JWT for. I know I use it. Here it is. Config is loaded. Authenticate. Okay, so we need to call this once both of these events are met. So maybe it's fine to do this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can do it at the same time, but how do I know that they're both done? I think this will be fast enough. I think it'll be fast enough that I don't have to do it. Because once I get the bots, active bots, connected, blah, 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 subscribe to game, git config API call, and then nconfig API call, let's call config is loaded. Git config API call, headers, blah, 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 await. We got the local config. Config is loaded. And this takes JWT and player ID. So online go server git config. Okay, config dot this isn't me, is it? Oh my gosh, whoops. Whatever. Whatever. Didn't know that would actually work like that. Okay, so config.user.jwt. So this is going to be data.user.jwt and data.player.id, I believe. No, user ID. Let's save that. And then on our conditions, when config user WT blah 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 is not empty, let's delete this. I would have recommended the same. Recommended what? Sorry, I missed the timing that you said that, so I don't know what you mean by recommended. Okay. Django? Did I use Django? On the server side? Is that what I did? OGS does. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So we've got pages loaded at 27. We get the access key at 28. We connect to the WebSocket at 28. We connect to OGS at 28. We connect and subscribe to game at 28. We're subscribing to the game at 28. Local get access token at 28. So that's not much faster than that one. Because that one also runs on JavaScript, by the way. We got the local config at 29. Phased finished, OGS finished, clock, delay. And then at 30, we start creating the Gobon stuff. And then at 32, no, at 33, oh my gosh. Why is this so much? I need to separate code calls from visual update calls. So if I can do all the code calls in code, it's like a second or two faster than using Bubble. And then just update the visuals using Bubble. So that means I should be able to call the Gobon crap faster than this. So in the game page, in our workflows, when our connected's connected, I'm not doing anything, cool. Page is loaded, set states is game. So page is loaded, it immediately tells the Go board that we're playing a game. Okay, that's fine. Maybe that's not fine. Because that means I can't call that until this is done, and I don't know when this is done if I'm not listening to Bubble. But okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Game connected and game information is not empty. This is set basic clock information. When does this get called? I've got the basic clock information gets called at 31. So this is game information, game information, game information, and the menu's file URL. So I don't like the file URL is fine because you're not going to just you're not going to play a sound when the page is loading. So that's fine to be delayed. But these three, get the game information, I think I can do in code. Okay. So let's get this function, set basic clock information, and then we need to get OGS get game information's API call. You want to go to game, OGS game connection. And let's put this in the game script. Game message, clock fisher data, resume game from pause, post OGS move, pass turn, resign, blah, 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 subscribe to game, set time control, board state, accept board state, set player ID. Hold on, let me actually put it in here and see what happens. Once we get the config is loaded, hold on, what are we doing? Set basic clock information. I don't need to wait to do this, do I? All I need to do is do an API call to get the clock information, or to get the game. So subscribe to game ID from URL. Get config API call. Let's go down here. What is this? Set basic clock information. That means I can go up here, parameters get game ID, subscribe to game ID from URL. So in game, in my subscribe to game function, game connect, game ID, chat, false, whatever. And then I set the basic clock information. But I need to get the game information from an API call. So in the OJS connection, let's get the API call, because I don't remember how to do that. Okay, so let's get this. Or do I need the data? Ah, okay, so this is awaiting this. Okay. Let's copy this whole thing in the game script. And this is going to be a new function. Get game API call. And then we're going to take in the game underscore ID. Have I used that already? Game player ID? No, I have not. Okay. So we don't need the access token. Local get game API call. Then I don't think we need an authorization. We got the local game. And then we're going to console log the data of the game so I know what parameters to get. Okay, so get game API call. That's what we're going to call and after subscribe to game. Get game API call. And this is going to take in game underscore ID. Cut this. Go down here. Once we have the data, we're going to set the basic clock information. Save that. Now let's look at our plugins. Collapse that. We're going to get game somewhere. Get game information. So this is just going to take in this. This is the API call. And then this is going to take in game underscore ID. We don't need any headers. I don't think I do. I don't think OGS needs to know who I am for a game information. If I was doing something in the game, yes, but I'm not. Let's try that. Yeah, all the games should be public though. Okay, connected to OGS 24, 24. Look at all of this running simultaneously. This is fantastic. Get the game, get the access token. We got the game, we got the local config. All of this is happening simultaneously. That's beautiful. So here is the game. So what we need is the clock, right? No, we need the time control parameters. So time control. So I forget what clock information needs. Game message. Clock Fisher. Resume, post OGS move, resign OGS move. Player just subscribe, set time control. Board state event, accept board state, set player ID in game. Where's this function? Set basic clock information. I wonder if it's in the Gobon. Create game, timeout, add moves, get game, set player color, set player, blah, 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 blah. Pass turn, set board game ID, OGS response, play move, set game position, mark stones to remove, game resume, set game phase, game zoom reset. That's mouse behavior. That's not it. Is it in the Gobon? Creating Gobon, wait for bubble, create Gobon, set Gobon, refresh, window size update, display position, coordinates, get 2D position, get sample position, get Gobon, clear Gobon, set Gobon, Gobon zoom, set last move, console lock position. Nope. Where the crap is it? Maybe it's on the game page. There it is, clock update. That basic clock information, there it is. get the initial time settings for clock handling. So we need black's ID, white's ID, time control, and the sound. But I don't need the sound. So let's get rid of this. And then we'll come back to that. Game, just connection. Down here, so we have no. Game. Down here we get the game. Now we have the data. Do I need to put these in like curly brackets or I don't know. Okay, so this is going to be, we don't need the sound. We need, where's my log? Data.time control. Data.black. Because it's going to be players, data.players.black.id. Data.players.black.id. Data.players.white.id. And that will set the basic clock information. Save that. Let's refresh this. Our clock is not showing. Oh, because the game isn't active, probably. Okay, I'm gonna get me water real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Before we forget, let's go out and fix the sound thing. Game OGS. Data. HTML clock. Let's do function set timer sound low timer sound. There's that. Cut that. There's that. Don't know why we played that. I don't need to play it once for it to work, right? It should just work whenever I call it next later. Now we're going to call set timer sound. And this one, once we're connected and blah, 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 everything's going great. Now, instead of all this, we're just going to set the timer. Copy that. Clear, 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 paste, clear, properties.param1. And then that should get the set the sound still. Okay, what's next? What is next? Still takes too long to load. Okay. So at 39, we connected everything. At 37, we created the Gobon, which is cool. $39. We connected everything. We have the game. We got the local config. We set the phase. We set the clock. Set the delay. That's all within 1 second. Now we need to figure out who's calling the create Gobon function. So once game information is not empty, and OGS game connection using me is not empty, set the states of my game ID, trigger create game from WGO Tsumego board. So create game, create game, create game, create game. Okay, this is the conditional to check what color we are. So we tell it what color we are when we create game. And then trigger set Gobon state, move number. Okay, so we can get rid of these if we call create game ourselves. So let's go to custom event. Create game is triggered. We set the audio value. Now we set the sounds, that's fine. Set the sound, that's fine. Create game and set player color. We're going to do ourselves. So let's delete that action. And that's setting states of the board, which is fine. Before we move on, I actually want to go into the game script because I need to know when this becomes visible. So I'm going to do console.log game script started. We'll do WGO game script started. Let's go back to our game connection. In our game script, once we have the game data, we're going to call these two functions. Create game needed the size question mark. Okay, so let's get, we have the game. No, that's the clock. Where's the game? We got the game. Width. So this is going to be data.width, set player color. Do we have player ID? Player ID available? We have the game ID. Set player ID in script. Er, er, I don't know if I have the player ID set yet. Okay, so we get the config. After we got the game. Crap. So we don't know who we are until we get the config, huh? So I need the game and I need the player ID to figure out what color I am. Oh, crap. Because the game and the local config are two different functions. They're running simultaneously. Do I need to do another API call? That could take more time, though. I'm going to have to do another API call. This sucks. I don't see another way to do it, though. Okay. So we got that. The API call is going to be a me call. Yeah, I think it's just going to be me. With the access token. And we're going to set the player ID in the game script. It's going to be data.id, I believe. We're going to console log this data. I'm going to console log dot me. Set the data. This is going to be get me for game. This is going to run after we get the game. Because once we get the game, we need to get me for the game, and then we need to set our ID. Once we set our ID, then we can create a game in the Gobon and tell it what color we are, because we'll have the game and we'll have me. Now I'm going to put game_ID and send this, because I think I'm going to need it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create the Gobon and create the game Gobon and tell it what color we are. API version 1 me does not work. Online go /API/v1/me. Guess we need the token type and the refresh token. Why do we need the refresh token? Whatever. Whatever. Token type. Error. And then, oh, this is the access_token. And this is the refresh_token. And then we need a variable refresh token. Access token. Refresh token. Let's do _t. It'd be consistent. Access token, refresh token, refresh token. Save. Not yet, buddy. She's still at work. Missing something. Oh, oh, can't put that there. That doesn't go there. Request blocked. Same origin policy. Disallows reading the remote source API me. Reason header access token is not allowed according to the header access control. Allow headers from cores. Blah 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 blah. What? What? Lowercase b? Cross origin request blocked. So I think actually I don't need. This needs to be a lowercase according to that call. And then this doesn't need bearer. See if that works. Nope. Access token is blocked. That's odd. Access token is not allowed according to the header. Access control allow headers and course pre-flight response. Aw. But it works here, yeah? Can't, please. Do not do that. She's not home yet. She'll be home in a little bit. So this one, right? That's the first one I did, though. Get rid of these, I guess. Get rid of the refresh token then. Maybe it doesn't need the refresh token. Token type is not allowed. Fine, I'll get rid of that too. Good grief. I thought this is what I started with, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't do that properly. We got the space. Spelled that correctly. Got the access token. Local storage access token. I mean, I guess I can get config twice, but I just thought me was better, but... After retrieving the access token from the other two servers, you need to send it with each request in the header. Authorization. There. Do I need a colon? Do I need a colon here? I don't think so. API version 1 me. Maybe I need a slash. Invalid header name. Yeah, so no colon. Hello, Soga. How are you? Were you able to test out playing online? Did it work okay for you? This is stupid. Couldn't find a game. What? What rank are you? Hmm. It took 40 minutes to get a game at Fordon. Man. That sucks. Yeah, and it's plus or minus 3, so you can only play Dawn players. That sucks. OGS just doesn't have enough Dawn players. Yeah, I spelled it correctly. How does this work, but the other one doesn't? I don't get it. That's funny. That is funny. I guess I'll just get the config twice. I don't know what else to do. The /me is just not working. Wait, what if it's HTTP? Nope, it's not HTTP. It's just not working. This is really stupid. I mean, that's what it was doing. But this is really stupid. I hate having to call this twice. It feels so inefficient. Whatever. That worked. Gonna be .user.id. Just give me a guest account. Why did I get a guest account? I need to console log my access key, and I really don't want to. No, it's the right access key. Yeah, I'm logged into Clausius. Or the access token. It's the right access token. The access token and the local storage is correct. What am I getting in this connection? The local config is a guest as well. So it's signing me in as a guest. That's probably why /me didn't work. It's getting the same access token it's using to log in on the Play Online page. I double checked. I don't get it. I don't get it. The access token is correct. Otherwise, the play online page wouldn't work. I don't freaking get it. Should it be a get instead of fetch? Fetch is a get. This is a get request. It knows my name. Stalker. What the heck is wrong? Oh. Okay. Okay. So the access token for the OAuth 2 login is not the same as an access key. So there's a difference between the access token of my account and the access token of an Oath 2? Yeah, I know it's not the JWT token. You're probably saving the auth authorization code or some value, not the OGS access key. Then why does my bubble calls work? So the local storage access token is a different token, different access token than the access token I need. OGS me access token from floppy readers login information key value 1. Key value 1 is the access token. Access token. Group config, bear, key value 1. Header authorization. It's the same daggum token. So why does it work on Bubble but not in JavaScript? Is that in network tab or inspector? Memory? Debugger? Network? That's Bubble. Bubble. API call from server. Request. None of this is freaking telling me what it is. API service do API call from server. What's the API call? Authentication null. What the fuck? I have any AWOL tonight. I almost forgot. I have 3 API calls from with authentication as null. Okay. Where is one specific one that I'm trying to do, though? These are all API calls from server, but I don't see what they're called. I don't see what the API call is. Okay. How do I see? How do I see which one of these is the API call? They're all called do API call from server. Hello. I'm having a time today.
Knocked out a whole bunch of little mini bugs all at once and stuck.
Well, where's my JavaScript calls then? Like, it's not like Bubble's doing the JavaScript call. Here's a hi. They're all called do API call from server. How come I can't see the header in any of these calls? Or even the URL that's being called? Well, this is weird. This is the response. 138181, I believe, is my account. Right? 138181 is me. But the very next one is not. URL params ID is different. Maybe it's my opponent? I don't know. Why does the headers tell me? Why do these all say do API call from server? After retrieving the access token from the OAuth2 service, you will need to send it in the request in the header. Yeah, so it's the OAuth2. The OAuth2, that's right. And it works in Bubble. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to play a move. I don't get it, man. Why does this look different? Why does this say request.open get, but I'm using fetch? Okay. I need content type. Fill a guest account. Go away. This should not be this hard. What is it that I do to see the variable? Debugger? And access token's correct. And then I hit F10 to move forward. And I got a negative ID, which is the guest account. Well, that's not true. This is not true at all. I don't get it. I don't get why my access token is giving me a guest account. That's just wrong. Yeah, the API call didn't work. What I thought. Authentication credentials were not provided. Failed 401. Authentication credentials were not provided. This doesn't sound right. It's saying that I can't make a JavaScript call to OGS. I have to do it on the server, not on a local page. And I don't think that's right. Needs a trailing slash. Nope, same bug. Failed 401. I'm stuck. I'm just stuck. I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. I'm flipping stuck, man. Hmm? Why is this wrong? Okay, how could this be wrong? Hold on. Mother flower. I think I figured it out.
That's good.
Cotton promise type error. Invalid assignment to const access token. I think the string had quotations in it. I think the access token had quotation marks included in the string. Maybe. I got Colossus back.
Yeah.
I think that worked. I think that worked. Let me get rid of these debuggers. That's some retarded, stupid freaking string mess. Yep, I'm getting Clausius now instead of a guest. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What was the problem?
So you put a string in quotations, right? So you put there and then you put access token, right? But for some reason, it was putting that inside of more quotations. So the access token has the quotations as part of the access token.
Oops.
So I had to remove the quotations. I don't know why it did that. I know, right? How dare I not show my secret access token? Oh, what a headache, man. And I bet you Bubble auto fixes that too. And that's why it works on Bubble, but not in JavaScript. What do you mean use the beta server, no one would care? Oh, if I use the beta server for my access token, gotcha. Yeah. Hello, Rusty Doge. Yeah. That is so aggravating. That took way too long to figure out. Way too long to figure that out. Oh. Oh my gosh, that was a stupid bug. That was a stupid bug. I just spent like what, an hour, 2 hours trying to find that.
It was a while.
Okay, I think it's a good stopping point for the day. I've sped it up a little bit, but obviously we still have a ways to go for the game page. Yeah. A 2-string thing you wrapped in a double or quotation. Yeah. So stupid. So stupid. Why isn't Bat's life?
It was earlier.
Yeah, he probably got off because he has an AOL in an hour, just like I do. What do we want to raid? Raid Vibe. Play Mechabellum. Okay. Thanks for putting up with me. Hope you guys tolerated my frustrations. Yeah, as always, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And with that, I will see you guys next time.